Hi, my name's Tony and I'm from the SUP company, and today, well, we're going to walk you through a stunner of a surf SUP with a rather special guest. It is the Infinity New Deal. So here we are with the Infinity New Deal and Mr. Infinity himself. Dave, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're back at it again.
Well, yeah, I think we've done a couple of these now, so I think we're pretty down and together on it. But the board, this is the New Deal. I know this is a core model in your surf lineup at Infinity. You were talking to me earlier about the actual weave in terms of how that's laid up in the construction of the board.
Yeah.
And how, can you run us through how that translates in terms of performance?
Yeah. And what's cool is since we do make custom boards, I have a lot of experience trying different layups and different materials and seeing how that, affects the flex, the strength, the weight of the board. And, all of our surf models are stringerless. There's no wood stringer in it. And the wood is the heaviest part of the blank, really. So the reason you take that out is to really take out the weight, but the stringer does provide rigidity and some flex too. There's a performance aspect to it. So how do we make it light but then build that performance back in? And the way we do that is through the materials. And everyone knows carbon fiber is a really nice material. It's a very strong material, but believe it or not, it flexes too. So, just like I always tell people, like a golf club, it's all carbon, it flexes a lot, right? And that's by design. Some golf clubs are stiffer, regular flex. Same thing with these boards. We tune the flex using different materials, and that's simply achieved by different types of carbon.
And that's the weave.
The weave, definitely so. So like if you see down the middle, we'll call that the carbon stringer. So that's a unidirectional carbon. So it's meant to be stiff from nose to tail.
Yeah.
But side to side, it has a little bit of give. Then on the deck, it's hard to see, but you can see weaves in there. And carbon comes in multiple different weaves. It'll look like a braid, it'll look like herringbone, it'll look small squares, big squares. What we settled on is more of an X pattern, and it's a little different because it's a bigger X pattern, which bigger the pattern, more flex it will give to you. It's tighter the weave, more solid. So the idea, and then there's a linear carbon around the perimeter of the board. So I like considering this a perimeter framing the board, so that gives it that linear strength along with the centerline stringer. So has that strength from tip to tail. But if you put the linear carbon in the middle, that would be stiff all over the board. So we mix that up with the weave on the deck and on the bottom. So you're in essence, you're getting like a snowboard type of twist.
Okay.
Right. So you're not going to get on it and it feels like a snowboard. Don't get me wrong, but there is a big difference of riding something like this than, like a entry-level type surfboard. The entry-level type surfboard will be very durable, probably a little heavier, but the performance is noticeably different, and that's where this comes into play. So, a lot of tech goes into it just simply with the materials, before you even start talking design, and I love that stuff. So that's really fun for me to get to that point, and the instant I wrote it, like the final version, I was all, this is it. I would compete on this board, and the last 2 seasons on the APP, that's what I wrote, was production board.
Really?
Yeah, even myself. And all the team riders have custom boards and stuff, but here comes Dave on his production board, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
So they have that quality that anyone can reach out and now go and get.
Yeah.
Is unreal.
Yeah, for sure.
So the deck, nice, clean. I see you've got a raised part of the deck pad back there. It's really helping with your orientation of your footwork towards the tail of the board.
Yep, for sure. It's a longboard style SUP shape, so it's not something crazy out of the ordinary, but it's kind of fine tuned for performance in mind. The original sizes we came out with were a lot more aggressive, I would say, lower volume, narrower, and that no one is really offering that type of dimensions. And there's a reason, because you're probably not going to sell that many.
Yeah.
But performance is always number one for me. And of course, we've added to the line and added wider boards, but it only comes in a 31 at the widest point.
And this here is a 10 foot by 29, 139 litres.
Exactly, yeah. And for how long this board is, it's really nimble. You know, it's like it's hard to see on the camera probably, but you know, it's fairly flat where you stand. But about right here, it really starts falling off and kind of tapering into a nice low, sensitive rail. And there's like a little bit of a up rail on the bottom, very subtle. But
and the rail changes a tremendous amount over the length of the board.
For sure, yeah. And that's like just like fine-tuned foil, you know, so it's really thin in the nose and really thin in the tail, and pretty balanced in the middle. So it gives you that paddle stability and like that wave catching ability. But when you step on the tail, it sinks and bites, and that's, you know, the tail's really pulled in too for this style of board.
And for what is a big board, because there's very little weight to it, it's just really light underfoot.
Yeah, and that's important. You know, the boards are long. You got a lot of board out in front of you, so you know that's why it's like the nose is a little bit more pulled in than you would see in a general longboard shape. But it still nose rides, you know, quite well. And then it has a little extra kick in the nose, and that's just to help it fit a little bit better. And it's really thin, so the whole, you know, weight out in front is not eliminated, but it feels a lot easier, a lot quicker when you match it up with the whole outline of the board.
But it doesn't just stop there. I mean, the amount of work that you put into the underside of this is unreal. And you walked me through it earlier on in terms of just how the shapes change and transition as you go through the length of the board. Can you run us through from the nose?
Yeah. So it has a very subtle single concave, and that's just to promote the water, to create that lift. Also aids in nose riding. And then it just kind of falls back into the board, just like a shortboard we would make, you know. So it's like the engine is very shortboardy, you know, hidden in this longboard kind of.
It's quite pronounced double concave.
Yeah,
so you start to work your
it's
way down.
Aggressive for sure, and that's by design as well. Like the width of the tail, where the fins are positioned, and just like the bend in the rocker matched up with that just makes it really responsive. So it's like if you go back there and trust it, you know, half the board comes out of the water, and it really kind of maneuvers. So we got a lot of guys riding this like giant waves where you never intended to do that. You know, we have videos of guys getting like these crazy reef barrels, and then we got average Joes in the Florida coast, you know, in windy slop that like this board. So it's turned into our most popular model now, just because it fits a lot of people, and it kind of brings us back to why we got in SUP surfing in the first place, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to catch waves easy. We want to be stable. I want to do some turns and maybe walk around and have some fun. You know, we always seem to get caught up in progressing and getting as small as we can. And then, you know, once you're done struggling, you head back into this board. So me personally, I end up riding this board more than anything in California, you know? So, because it kind of ticks all those boxes for me. Yeah, and then, you know, it's just a 2+1 setup, so it's generally smaller side bites and a bigger middle one.
Yeah, I was quite struck as to how long the center fin box is.
Yeah, it's just because you need more surface area to grab this board to really make it react. A lot of people think smaller fin is going to make the board looser, but a bigger fin, it's kind of counterintuitive. It makes it more looser because it reacts quicker. So you need a bigger fin for a bigger board.
Yeah,
that's what we match it up. And it has the 10-inch US box, which most surfers are familiar with, and that just adds more versatility. You move it in the front of the box, it gets more squirrely. Back of the box, you get more hold. So it's kind of like fine tuning to what, you know, even how the surf is when you pull up to the beach. You know, I don't move mine a ton, but I'll move it a couple inches here and there depending on what the surf looks like and what I want to do. Most
popular sizes in the New Deal lineup?
Yeah, it's always going to be the bigger ones, you know, which isn't as fun for like us designer guys because we like the slick, skinny stuff, but. You know, the 1029 is a great size. Anything over 31, like I think we really achieved a lot of maneuverability for that size. So the wide boards guys tend to like because it's maneuverable than their last one. But the really kind of smaller stuff is where it sticks out because just a lot of brands don't offer that. And so like the 1027 is kind of an odd size to stock in a 9'26", but you know if you're really into surfing and you've been doing it a while, you know you can appreciate a slightly narrow board. You know you start feeling the differences in the maneuverability and stuff. But yeah, like I'll ride the 1027. That's like my go-to in this board because it catches waves a lot with the length, and I can still turn it. Yeah.
For us, the standout thing, and it's a hard conversation sometimes with customers and people that are interested because of the price point. Ultimately, you know, they're not particularly low price point.
Sure.
But once you start to actually investigate the product, learn about the product, the design, and more importantly, the construction, then it's such an easy conversation to justify.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got one in your hands, it's like, okay.
Totally. I think a lot of people, they simply go like this and they kind of you start understanding. And, you know, carbon's expensive. I mean, there's no way around it. Just simply being carbon is going to be a higher price point, you know, besides the fact that it's molded and all that stuff that just adds to the manufacturing price. But, you know, we have a premium deck pad on it, you know, like even the deck pads, it's
crazy just to see you handle it like that as well. It's just so light. You can't translate it over the camera. You've got to come and see it and touch it.
No, just like even the deck pad's heat pressed, right? So it doesn't absorb water. We take out the holes. Not only does it match the aesthetics of the stripes, it takes out as much weight as possible. Really long arch bar, nice kick. So, you know, it's a premium pad, and even the handle is a carbon fiber handle, you know, just because it's that much lighter. I mean, plastic doesn't weigh that much, but this one's a little bit lighter, so we go that route. So, I mean, from fit to finish, the surf line is, I mean, they're just really nice. And, you know, it's
certainly no compromise in terms of the construction. It's an absolutely beautiful board, and it just looks stunning.
Yeah, and it's cool. We added a couple new colors this year to bring some excitement to it, and yeah, I mean, it's a board we're proud about, and I get a thrill seeing one of these out here all the way in the UK, man.
Yeah,
so
we're super
cool.
excited to have you here and Infinity too. So if you want any more information on the new deal, be sure to head over to our website and check out thesupco.com. Dave, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching our video. If you've got any questions about what you've seen, why not give us a call in the shop or head over to thesupco.com. To stay up to date though with all of our videos, well, make sure you subscribe up here and hit the notification bell. But to see our next video, well, take a look up here.